Welcome to the podcast of the Political Page blog with commentary from an attorney and entrepreneur on the political and social issues of the day, from a rationalist, libertarian, and often irreverent perspective. This is Political Page, and here's what's on my mind today. Hello and welcome to the podcast, the Political Page blog. This one is dated the 2nd of October 2019, and it's entitled The Sheep Yet Bleat, Impeachment Hysteria 2.0 in a Nutshell. And to begin with, let me apologize right off the bat for the terrible audio quality of this blog. We are having a recurrent problem, but it will again be fixed before the next blog. However, it's just too good not to do this, bad sound quality notwithstanding. So, the best thing about the September blog hiatus, and oh my goodness, we were on hiatus for a lovely month, was not having to listen to all the talking heads as they bleated out the impeachment du jour, and not having to write about it. Because had the blog not been on hiatus, it would have been immersed in the insane alternative universe of Bobblehead Schiff and Nadler the Hutt, a prospect which is not relished on a weak stomach. Instead, the blog wandered over to the soft hills and fields of the English Cotswolds, where the only bleating was coming from actual sheep. Now, unfortunately, England also has media, and they also have a Trumpian figure in the person of Boris Johnson as Prime Minister. Go to the written blog. There's some stuff in there about that, about the parallels between them and us, and it's fascinating stuff, but I don't have time for that on the audio portion. So, final consideration in Britain is that they are doing the same thing we are doing, which is when elections disappoint them, they want to just undo them. Right elections are sacrosanct, wrong elections, well, they mandate righteous coups, don't they? So, to their credit, however, the British do not put genitals on their heads, and they are constitutionally unsuited to primal screaming in public. Those are definite positives. If you're going to look at the collapse of Western democracies, you might as well do it in the peaceful environment of the UK as opposed to the United States, because there even the progressive Brits are repressed, and at least they bleat with modulated voices. But all good things come to an end. Eventually, one lands right back in the United States and is instantaneously and involuntarily engulfed in the edematously wobbling chins of Nadler the Hutt and the protuberant stare of Bobblehead Schiff, emoting at us from CNN airport monitors in every conceivable direction. And as of yesterday, when the blog kept going again, the bleaters were not finished bleating, and I gather they will never truly finish bleating. They don't give up. And so from the halcyon, bucolic vistas of the Cotswolds being left far behind, the blog now has to address the latest absurd impeachment frenzy, much of it, thank God for small favors, retrospectively. And our current location in Wonderland can be summed up in a single Faulknerian sentence. And you know William Faulkner, if you don't go back to school. It deserves no more than one sentence, but there's a lot to it. I'm going to do this in a single breath. You ready? Here goes. An American president asked the leader of the Ukraine. Now, that's the same Ukraine that former President Obama abandoned to a Russian invasion in direct violation of a treaty, so he could brag that Hillary Clinton accomplished a Russian reset by offering a big red button saying overcharged to a very befuddled Russian foreign minister to cooperate in the interminable DOJ effort to locate the long-lost Clinton bathroom server, which is rumored to be squirreled away in some deeply shadowed corner of Kiev. And in the process of that discussion, it wandered into another year-long DOJ investigation of whether a prior U.S. vice president had actually blackmailed the Ukraine to stop the criminal prosecution of his son, who was not so incidentally raking in $50,000 a month, yes, a month, for a shady Ukrainian energy company, a position for which he had zero qualifications, experience, or knowledge, which alleged blackmailing action the president labeled horrible if true, but stopped short of asking any favor regarding said horrible allegation, and that was the end of it, but which brief presidential mention was breathlessly reported by a, quote, whistleblower, who turned out to have no personal knowledge whatsoever about what really happened and was reporting mere water cooler rumors, a circumstance once flatly banned by sensible whistleblower regulations until magically changed by some faceless deep state bureaucrat just days before the filing of said blown whistle. Although none of these blazing red warning signs stopped the rabid American mainstream media from using said water cooler gossip to further craft out of whole cloth ever more mendaciously delicious malicious fantasies that the American president had threatened to withhold military aid to the Ukraine to dig up dirt on a rival, who was not yet a rival at the time, foreign aid which, ironically, had not ever been threatened at all by the president, but had been threatened pretty adroitly by the former vice president, who is now under investigation. And while this and myriad other satisfying but ultimately utterly unsubstantiated rumors were blaring ad nauseum and with zero corroboration in headlines from the same rabid media shills who brought us 3 years of hysteria that Trump was a Russian secret agent, somehow that story morphing conveniently into an alleged cover-up by said president, who promptly overruled every legal requirement that the blown whistle be kept confidential and ordered it released widely so there would be no cover-up, a fact which was conveniently ignored by the media shills who were breathlessly reporting the redacted and reassembled quotes from that released report, all the while also ignoring the object fact that running unsuccessfully, once again, for the presidency does not endow a blackmailing former vice president with any immunity from prosecution for the crimes of misusing the power of the entire United States military aid system to get his do-nothing kid out of trouble with Ukrainian oligarchs. All good so far? Deep breath and off we go. Then, notwithstanding the fact that anyone reading the actual transcript of the presidential conversation could easily see that there were at least 500 words being edited out by the media in order to support their narrative, and the glaring absence of any promise, threat, or request relating to foreign aid or anything else to gain information on the investigation into the horrible conduct of said former vice president and his drug-addled but now very wealthy son, Bobblehead Schiff, the chair of a powerful committee in the actual U.S. Congress, opened his hearing by pretending to be the president in a phone call, saying all of the things that weren't said, but the Schiff wished had been said, and when challenged for lying about what was in the transcript, reported that his performance was meant as a parody, as the media nodded wisely and turned back to their narrative. Still with me? Good. In short, Trump did not do or say any of the things that the media and the whistleblower suspected that he said. But if he had said those things, there would be a staggeringly weak argument for congressional inquiry. So every Democrat hack from Bobblehead to the terminally withered Nancy Pelosi is pretending that he really did say those things and then tried to hide those things, even though he didn't say those things or hide these things. And anyone who can read quite easily what he actually said because he never hid any of it. And this is a basis for impeachment. You know, if I were still blogging during September and was not on hiatus, I'd have had to have listened to all of them and then say all of this in a blog. It's a good thing I was on vacation.
Thank you for tuning in to the Political Page podcast today. Original blog articles, complete with a lot more information and great links to original source material, can be found anytime on politicalpage.net. That's political, P-A-I-G-E.net.